The ice cream truck still drove our street in February. No kids outside, snow piled against the curb, that stupid jingle echoing between houses. He'd creep along at walking speed, engine low, window open, breath fogging out. I used to stand on the porch with my hands jammed in my pockets and watch him crawl past like some dying animal that refused to fall over. My mom hated him. She'd yank me off the porch without even checking if I had shoes on and say, "He doesn't sell to us," like it was a rule carved in stone. I thought she meant we were broke. We were broke, so it made sense. I'd sulk and say I had a couple bucks, and she'd cut me off with that dead look and repeat it, "He doesn't sell to us." Then she flipped the deadbolt in the middle of the day like we lived in a war zone. For a while, I just thought she was being dramatic. Then I started actually watching him. One afternoon, I pretended to do homework on my bedroom desk, but my math book was just a prop. I heard the jingle turning onto our block, that warped happy tune that didn't fit the gray sky and dirty snow at all. I nudged the curtain with 2 fingers and looked down. The truck rolled slow, then stopped near the next block. Engine idled, exhaust huffed out onto the bumper. A little boy from the next street overcame running out in his socks, no coat, sweatshirt flapping. You could tell he'd bolted the second he heard that music. He ran up grinning, hand in his pocket. I waited to see the driver's arm come out with a cone or a popsicle. Instead, the guy leaned way out with this chunky Polaroid camera already up. He snapped a picture of the kid before he even reached the window. Flash went off, this harsh white pop against all that dirty snow. The kid flinched, then just stood there. No money changed hands. No wrapper, no ice cream, no nothing. The driver said something I couldn't hear. The kid looked down, turned around, and walked home, socks soaking through, hands empty. The truck sat there while the driver shook the photo and watched it develop, like that was the whole point of stopping. Then the jingle cranked back on, and he moved to the next street. I stared at my reflection in the glass for a long minute, trying to convince myself I'd missed something. Maybe he'd handed the ice cream down low. Maybe it was some weird promotion. The longer I thought about it, the less it felt like a mistake, and the more it felt like catching someone halfway through a lie. After that, I started counting. Every time I heard that song in the wrong season, I'd find a window. Different kid, different day, always alone, always kind of rushed, like they'd slipped out before anyone could say no. He'd lean out with that same camera, same flash. They'd leave with nothing. Sometimes I'd see them paw at their pockets like they dropped the money, and maybe the ice cream secretly came with it. A couple of times he stopped and nobody came. The truck would just sit there, music looping like it was patient, like it could wait all winter. One night after he left, I told my mom what I'd seen. I said he took pictures of kids and didn't give them anything. I said it was creepy. I said we should call someone. She didn't roll her eyes. She didn't say I watched too much TV. She just went flat and quiet. Eyes not really on me anymore. She asked how many kids. I shrugged and said a bunch. Her jaw clenched. I pushed it, told her she always talked about protecting us, but she wouldn't even call the cops. She snapped that nobody listened to us, that men like him got the benefit of the doubt, and we didn't. And if I went near that truck, she'd beat the fucking urge out of me. That shut me up, but it didn't stop me from watching. The more I looked, the less that truck felt like part of the neighborhood, and the more it felt like a trap that just happened to roll. Then there was the day at the park. Late afternoon, sky already dimming, piles of old snow pushed up along the chain link fence. I was out on my bike, circling around just to kill time. I cut past the small park a few blocks away and saw the truck parked by the swings. No jingle, back doors cracked an inch or two. Nobody else around. That felt wrong. The truck always used that music like a fishing lure. Seeing it quiet felt like walking into a room where someone was mid-sentence and stopped when you opened the door. I should have kept riding. Instead, I slowed down. Curiosity, boredom, whatever. It pulled harder than common sense. I coasted up behind it, tires crunching old ice. Up close, the crack between the back doors leaked this thick, freezer-cold air. I put my foot down, glanced around, didn't see anyone. My hand moved before my brain caught up. I grabbed the handle and tugged one door open. The cold hit me like a punch in the chest. I sucked in a breath and it burned. I expected racks of brightly colored boxes, cartoon rockets, and chocolate bars. Instead, I saw rows and rows of rubber-banded photo stacks. Each bundle was wrapped in butcher paper and labeled in black marker with street names. Neat block letters: Maple, Birch, our street. Some stacks were thick, some thin. One bundle had the paper torn just enough to show the edge of a picture. Washed out flash. A kid's face mid-blink. There wasn't even a cooler, just these stacks laid out like inventory. On the metal floor, near the drain, something brown and frozen clung to the ridges. It wasn't chocolate. I'd seen dried blood before from a nosebleed on the bathroom tile. Same dull, dark edge. My stomach turned, but I couldn't move. My brain kept trying to slide off what I was actually seeing, like it wanted to file it as weird instead of bad. The engine coughed. I felt someone behind me and spun around. He stood there by the corner of the truck, rag in his hand like he'd just been wiping something down. Up close, he looked normal in that nothing way. Baseball cap, windburned cheeks, a little stubble. No cartoon villain scar, no glowing red eyes. That somehow made it worse. He slammed the door shut so hard it rattled my teeth, then smiled at me. Not angry, not surprised. Just this slow, please smile like I'd done exactly what he thought I would. I muttered some crap about thinking he sold snacks, my voice cracking. He tipped his head, looked me over like I was another item to label and stack, then told me I should get home before it got dark. The way he said it made my legs shake. I got on my bike and rode home so fast my lungs burned. I didn't look back once because I was terrified I'd see that truck rolling right behind me, patient as ever. I burst into the house, dropped my bike in the hall. Mom jumped up ready to yell about the door, and I just dumped everything on her. Park, open doors, stacks marked with our street, that brown frozen shit on the floor, his smile. I watched her face while I talked. I expected denial, maybe a joke. Instead, she went sheet white. No questions, no, are you sure? She grabbed the phone and made a single call in the bedroom with the door closed. She talked low and hard. I caught my name once, the word truck, once, nothing else. That week, she suddenly decided we were moving in the summer. She spun it like opportunity, better school, closer to family, all that. But I'd catch her at the window when the jingle played, shoulders tense, eyes tracking the truck until it turned out of sight. I asked her more than once what she'd seen when she was a kid, or what she'd heard that made her hate him so much. She told me to stop digging into things that didn't want to be dug up. We moved that summer. She never said the word ice cream again. I kept waiting to see his face on the news, arrested, exposed, something. I searched online for years. Our town's name with ice cream truck, missing kids, Polaroids. Nothing clean, nothing that lined up. Just little stories that might be him or might be someone else. Sometimes in winter, I still hear a faint jingle from a few streets over, and every hair on my arm stands up. I watch which kids suddenly bolt for their shoes. I watch which parents yank them back, and which ones don't. If that fucker still crawls some other neighborhood in winter, don't let your kids near him. Let's not meet. My neighbor teaches crows people's names and lets them decide what to do with them. He moved in with no furniture, just bags of seed and a freezer chest he hauled onto the balcony. No couch, no TV, no boxes, just that stained white chest and sacks of peanuts and corn. Old guy, big glasses, clothes that never changed. First night, I heard wings and scratching and that ugly crow screech instead of TV. No music, no talking, just him shuffling around and the birds answering. Every morning he stood outside with his chipped mug and 3 crows lined up on the railing like they paid rent. He'd toss peanuts one by one, slow as hell, and say a name in this careful, practiced tone. Mark, 207, like roll call. The birds tilted their heads, blinked, grabbed the shells, then flew straight toward our building. Different names on different days. Anna, 112, Lady Dog Lobby, like he ran some fucked up language class for birds. At first I thought, all right, lonely kook with a crow hobby, whatever. I joked to my friends about the crow cult guy, but names kept matching people. Mark and 207 the girl with the yappy dog, the old lady who fed strays by the dumpsters. I'd hear him say it in the morning and then see the crows tailing them that afternoon. On the mailboxes, on the awning, on the hood of their cars. Close enough to spook you, not close enough to touch. I minded my own business until I heard my own name. I was locking my door for work when it floated up through the courtyard. My name, drawn out like he rolled it around his mouth first. Then, clear as anything, 3rd floor. I froze with the key still in the lock. There was this long pause, then the soft clatter of peanuts on metal, wings rushing the air. My chest went tight. I didn't go down the main stairs that day. I took the back exit like a coward and told myself I was just running late. That night, a crow tapped my bedroom window 3 times and dropped a peanut on the sill. No one else's window. Mine. Top, top, top. Not like random pecking. It had rhythm. I pulled the curtain back, and this big crow stared straight at me. Close enough I saw its reflection in its own eye. It held a peanut in its beak for a second, then let it fall on the metal track. Just stared, like it waited for me to get the point. I opened the window the smallest crack, grabbed the peanut, and felt stupid for my hands shaking. The bird didn't flinch. It leaned in, checked my face, then launched off with a harsh, broken sound that did not quite sound like a normal caw. Shell was warm from its beak. I tossed it straight in the trash and took the whole bag out 5 minutes later because it felt wrong sitting in my kitchen. That's the night I really stopped feeling like it was just a quirky neighbor story. A week later, he changed the script. New name, Manager, 101. I heard it twice. The birds got louder after that, hopping and flaring their wings like they liked it. Our manager is a cheap bastard. He'd already yelled at balcony guy about feeding the birds. "You're attracting pests," the manager said in the hallway one afternoon, trying to sound tough. The old man just stared at him, not saying a word. That silence felt heavier than yelling. Next morning, Manager, 101, then extra peanuts, a whole little rain of them. Day after that, I walked in on the aftermath. Manager was at the bottom of the stairs, ass on the concrete, keys scattered everywhere, one ankle twisted off at a bad angle. He kept saying, I'm fine," through gritted teeth while people hovered. A smear of something slick on the step above him. Birds lined the roof edge, rows of black shapes, all pointed down at the scene like they bought tickets. I glanced up and saw the old man on his balcony with his mug. Not helping, not reacting, just watching. He lifted the mug a little when he saw me. Like a toast. My stomach dropped. After that, it got harder to pretend it was random. Every time he spoke a name, I found myself tracking that person for the next few days, waiting for something to happen. Sometimes it was nothing. Sometimes small shit. Bike knocked over, mirror cracked, lost package. But the timing made my skin itch. Name first. Then this delay like the birds had to decide. The one that really fucked with me was when he said, ex-boyfriend. Red car. He said on a Thursday morning, just loud enough to carry. Not my ex's name. Just ex-boyfriend. But then, red car. And my spine went ice cold because that's exactly how I thought of him. Not by his actual name anymore. Just my ex with that shitty fading red Civic. Instead of a peanut, the old man tossed a chunk of raw meat onto the rail. Dark, wet, stringy. The 3 crows went at it instantly, ripping it apart, yanking strips off like they'd been hungry for days. More crows landed along the balcony, watching but not joining in. Like there was a hierarchy. Like those 3 were special. I went back inside and tried to convince myself he'd just guessed. Everyone has a red X, right? That's what I told myself. Ignored the fact that my ex had shown up at the building before, drunk, banging on my door, yelling enough that half the complex knew. Maybe the old man heard. Maybe he saw the car. Maybe that was all. My ex showed up that weekend anyway. Of course. Hammered, louder than ever, fists on my door, voice booming through the wood. Open the fuck up. I stood on the other side, silent, shaking, phone in my hand, but not dialing anyone because I knew nobody would do shit. He hammered and cursed for what felt like forever, then finally gave up and clomped back down the stairs. I waited, counted to 100. My body moved on autopilot to the balcony, like it needed proof he'd really left. Down in the lot, his red Civic sat under the power line. Back tire flat, rubber shredded like someone had gone at it with a knife. Windshield covered in long, thin scratches, big ugly arcs across the glass, fresh enough that you could see white dust where the coating scraped off. He stood beside the car, spinning in useless circles, swatting at the air. Because above him, on the power line, were crows. Dozens. Quiet. Packed wing to wing, all facing down. A few on the hood, one on the roof. They didn't attack him. They didn't need to. They just existed around his misery and let him feel it. Every time he shouted and waved his arms, they hopped back an inch, then settled again. A couple pecked at the rubber, almost casual. I looked up toward the balcony out of pure dread, and there he was. Old man, mug, same slight smile, like he knew the punchline before anyone else. His eyes slid from my ex back up to me. Tiny nod. Not friendly, not threatening, just confirmation. I'm not saying the birds did it. Tires go flat. Glass gets scratched. Drunks piss people off, and shit happens. I'm saying he said, ex-boyfriend. Red car, fed them meat. And 2 days later my ex stood under a cloud of feathers, screaming at the sky while his car died in front of him. And I'm saying the old bastard smiled when he saw me see all of it. And I'm saying, worst of all, there was a part of me that liked it, and he saw that too. Now I plan my whole day around not hearing him. I check the clock before I step outside, scan the balcony like it's a sniper nest. If he's out there with that mug and those 3 big crows, I turn around. I'd rather be late to work than hear my own name roll off his tongue again. I don't want to know who he picks next, or what the birds decide they deserve. I keep my headphones in outside now. I don't want to hear whose name he trains them on next. A stranger keeps standing behind me in photos taken in my apartment, even when I'm alone. First time I noticed, it was just a blur. I'd snapped a pic of a bookshelf to sell it online. I was broke, new place, trying to offload whatever I could, so I didn't even look that hard at the shot at first. Later, I sat on the couch, opened the gallery, zoomed in to check if the titles were readable. That's when I saw it. A pale smear hovering over my shoulder in the reflection of the TV. Wrong shape for a light flare, too tall to be me bent over. For a second, my stomach dropped. Then I did that thing where you talk yourself down. Must have moved my arm. Glitch. Compression. Whatever. I deleted it, took another, and didn't zoom in that time. Then I took a selfie for a friend. Proof I was actually unpacking. I've been joking in the group chat that I'd live out of boxes forever, so I grabbed my phone, lifted it, gave a tired half smile. Later that night, I opened it again to reply. In the far corner of the frame, over my left shoulder, something leaned half out from behind the hallway wall. Not a blur this time. A figure. Wrong height for me, too close to the ceiling. Sleeves that looked long and dark when I'd been in a t-shirt. The head turned away, like it didn't want its face caught. My thumb shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. I live alone. I kind of live alone, but my boyfriend crashes alone. It's alone. Studio, 3rd floor, no pets, no roommates, no mirrors facing weird. I triple-checked the closets the first week because the building gave me a vibe, but nothing. Thin walls, old pipes, that was it. I told myself I was being stupid, but I felt this heat crawl up my spine, like shame and fear mixed. I backed out of the photos and locked the phone like that would lock it out too. Didn't sleep much. Every creak sounded like someone shifting their weight just out of sight. Next day, I tried to be rational. If there's something wrong, you test it, right? So I started testing it. I set my phone on a timer, propped it on shelves, the counter, stacked books. I stood in different rooms, tried different angles. I felt ridiculous, posing for nobody, but I needed to know if it was just that shot. Every picture from the living room showed it somewhere behind me. Every single one. Never fully visible. In one, there was just an elbow near the lamp, bent wrong, like the joint was higher than it should be. In another, a hand rested on the back of the couch, fingers long, too many knuckles. One shot caught the curve of a jaw just inside the doorframe. skin that looked gray under the warm light. I zoomed in until pixels broke apart, convinced I'd see some logical pattern. It stayed wrong. I told myself it had to be some reflection from the hallway, some neighbor's TV bouncing off glass, even though the angles didn't match. I checked anyway. I opened the door, looked at the hall. Empty. Just that gross yellow overhead light and the smell of somebody cooking something burnt. I tried to drag the photos into an editing app, thinking maybe I'd see artifacts, signs of a glitch. No, the edges of that thing were cleaner than my actual face. My own eyes looked soft, like I was the one pasted in. That's when the anger kicked in. Fear I can kind of swallow, but feeling watched pisses me off. I kept thinking, it's my place, my rent, my air, whatever this shit is doesn't get squat here. So I got obsessive. I took a burst of tan with the lights off. I closed the blinds, turned every light out until the apartment turned into a black box. Set the timer. Flash popped 10 times in a row, white explosions that left spots in my vision. When I opened the sequence, my scalp actually prickled. In every single picture, the distance closed, 3 steps nearer each frame, like a flip book of something walking straight through me. First shot, it was far back by the hallway, half behind the wall again. Second, closer, shoulder clearer. Third, arm reaching out. Fourth, fifth, sixth, the gap split smaller and smaller. By the 8th, it was right behind me. In the 9th, its shin almost touched my shoulder. In the last one, I wasn't even the subject anymore. I wasn't in focus. My head blurred, smeared sideways like I tried to turn away mid-shot, but I know I stood still. The thing in my back was sharp from nose to collarbone. No eyes, just dark pits, like the flash burned them out and left holes. Its mouth hung open, not screaming, just open, like it had just finished breathing on my neck. I swear I could almost see condensation on my shirt collar. I launched the phone across the couch and just sat there, shaking. I didn't want to go pick it up. I didn't want to turn my back on the hallway. The air felt thick, like when someone stands too close behind you in line and you can feel them without seeing them. Every instinct screamed, do not look at the screen again. But leaving those pictures there felt worse, like letting it exist. I forced myself up, grabbed the phone, thumbed to delete the burst. My hands were slick. I hit delete, watched them vanish from the gallery. I exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for an hour. Then I went into the recently deleted folder and deleted them again, just in case. There's a special kind of horror in pressing a button and admitting, yeah, that was real enough that I'm scared to keep it. After that, I checked my camera roll from before I moved in. I scrolled all the way back. Holidays, parties, dumb bathroom selfies, my old crappy apartment. Photos of my old place were clean. No hands in the background that I'd missed. No guirdelbots. Nothing in the TV reflection but my own ugly Netflix face. It only started here. That made it worse somehow. If it followed me everywhere, at least it would be about me. This felt like I'd moved into someone else's problem. Like the unit came furnished with whatever the hell this was. I called the landlord. I didn't lead with, hey, I think your apartment comes with a demon. I just asked casual as I could if anything bad had ever happened there. There was this tiny pause. Then he swore no one died in the unit. Didn't say no one died in the building. Didn't say no weird shit. Just that line over and over. That's exactly how a landlord would phrase it. I could almost hear him shrug. I pushed, mentioned police and records, and his tone went cold. If I had such a problem with the place, he said, I could always break lease. That pissed me off more than the photos. I hung up before I started yelling. I tried to show a friend the one selfie I hadn't deleted yet. I sent it with a tell me what you see. They replied with some joke about my dead people eyes from lack of sleep. Either they genuinely didn't notice the thing in the corner, or they thought I edited it for clout. I stared at the typing dots come and go, and then just muted the chat. If no one else could see it, or no one wanted to admit it, then it was just me and it here. Nights got rough after that. I'd stand in the bathroom brushing my teeth and feel this pressure in my back like someone taller than me leaned over the doorframe. I stopped watching TV with the screen off because the reflection freaked me out. I kept catching myself glancing at black surfaces, waiting to see that outline behind me. I started leaving more lights on than I could afford, then getting angry at the electricity bill, then turning them off and sitting in the dark anyway, listening. I know how this sounds. Trust me, I've tried to break it down 100 times. Sleep paralysis? Except I was awake and moving in the pictures. Kamera glitch. Glitches don't reposition themselves frame by frame like they're walking up on you. Some asshole breaking in? Okay, then why only show in photos but never in real life? Never on the peephole cam? Never on the hallway security footage when I asked the super to check after some noise complaints? The only constant was my phone. So I made a rule. I don't use the camera at home anymore. I tape over the lenses when I'm in the apartment like some paranoid conspiracy freak. And when someone tags me in a group photo taken anywhere else, I zoom in on every shadow behind me, every blurred edge, every doorway in the background, just in case it learned how to travel.